Hey guys, and welcome to my channel and welcome to this video. This is the second in line of sky ideas. I did the first one and you can find a link right here, or you can just check the description later on and watch the first video. For this one, first I have pre-wetted the entire paper, and right now I'm just mixing in a little bit of blue, ultramarine blue, and a little bit of brown to create this nice grayish color. And that's, I guess, if you are on my channel watching my video, you probably already know that that is my favorite brown, that is my favorite gray, actually not brown, mix of blue and brown, darker brown. So I have started with painting upper part of the paper and then the lower part. In the lower part there will be just the notion of some waves and sea, and the upper part will be sky with the lightning, mixing in a little bit more of the color. And you will see later on I will leave one part a little bit also lighter. That's gonna be something that is lightened by the lightning, and most of the sky will be quite dark. So we will be painting more layers to get this very, very dark and saturated tone. A little bit more of just black on top. And as I said, this part of the sky is going to be quite dark, and also the sea is going to be quite dark. Adding a little bit more of the pigment, and I'm painting this monochrome. You can of course use, instead of maybe blacks and grays, you can use here indigo. That would be also a nice color to create this lightning. And you can see right now which part is going to be the lightest. I'm picking up the paint in some parts that's going to be again lightened by that lightning, and just going also into that part with black. And as I mentioned in my previous videos, I did have a couple of requests from you to paint in different skies, so I decided to do 3 ideas. Those are quite simple skies, so even if you're a beginner you can do that with just a little bit of the practice. And getting a little bit more of the black. Again, painting upper and lower part, and I do like to add it in layers because that's how you're also creating textures. I don't want all the strokes to be in the same direction, and I don't want them all to be same. So I'm just looking where I want to add a little bit more of the black. And you can see that part that I did leave lighter and that I painted with mix of blue and brown is just slightly different. There is just some hints of blue, some hints of brown. That's also a great thing when you're mixing your colors. You just get a lot of textures just adding the paint on the paper. Pigments do split slightly and they create beautiful textures. That's at least what I like. I like a lot granulating colors and colors that split in their textures. So I do love to use different paints, and I do like to mix my colors a little bit more here and there. The paper is still wet, so the paint is bleeding. And again, creating those beautiful textures. Just want to add a little bit more of the pigment inside where that lighter part is, and also for the sea, for the water. And right now I do want to make a distinction between that sky and water. So just moving slightly the paint here and there. And right now I will get this knife, this palette knife, and you can use maybe an old card or something like that with a straight edge, or maybe a ruler would be also fine to create textures, to pick up a little bit of the paint for the waves. You can do this also with white gouache or some white paint, but I thought this would be quite nice. This is how you're also ruining your paper, if I should say that, just actually scrubbing on top of that paper. But I do love textures that there is just a touch of that gray still left there, but it really looks beautiful, those waves, and a little bit more maybe natural when you're doing it with the palette knife. So just picking up, and now I will leave that to dry completely. And you can see straight away how the color looks quite different and lighter now that it's dried. And I do want to prevent the paper because, again, I don't want any harsh edges. I do want my paint to bleed and just to float on the paper. So I'm again wetting the paper, and if you watch my previous video, you could have seen that again I started from the lighter colors going into darker colors with my water. I did not want to move that darker paint into the lighter part. I wanted that lighter part to stand out and to be quite light. Now I'm just picking up some black, again quite saturated, and painting in the sky and around that part, lighter part. Just adding quite dark and rich colors, rinsing my brush and moving it into that lighter part. I don't want to go in the lighter part with fully loaded brush. I really do want that part to stay lighter. Just adding a little bit more of the pigment. Again, I do want my lightning to be visible when I add the color, so I don't want the paper to stay fully white, because in that case that lightning wouldn't be visible. So I am painting it, but with a lighter wash than everything around it. So when wetting, I did bring a little bit of the color into my sea, and I did use a clean towel just to pick up that color and to make that light and bright again, using this paint, white paint. This is a craft paint. It has a very nice creamy consistency. It's a little bit less thick than gouache, and you need just a touch of the water to make it move, and it's quite opaque. So I'm adding a little bit of that white right now because the paint is still wet. It will bleed slightly and create a little bit lighter effect around some parts of the lightning. I'm not going to go all the way where the lightning is going to be, just on some parts, because I do want some light and brightness around some parts of my lightning. Just like that. So creating those brighter parts, and you can see right now how the paint around it is a little bit darker, even though it's a lighter than the rest. It is painted. And now with this very thin liner brush, I'm painting in the lightning. I left the paper to dry completely. You have to make sure your paper is fully dry, because right now I'm painting the lightning. I don't want the bleeds anymore, so using this quite light brush. And you can use here also gel pen, or you can use That's something that I do use lately. I do love it. Posca pen that with a fine tip, and it just also gives a beautiful line. It's quite opaque, it's visible, so you don't have to use paint and brush. You can use gel pen, you can use Posca pen, you can use ink pen, whatever you like and you prefer, you can use to paint in the lightning. Of course, if you're using any pen, you will have a lot more control than with a brush. I guess with a brush you have the least control, but you know, sometimes that's not a really bad thing. Painting in those lines here and there. I do want some parts of the lightning to be brighter and thicker, and some parts of the line to be thinner and barely visible. So just adding it here and there. I'm not even trying to connect every single line to make them all full lines. Some parts are maybe visible, some parts not. Maybe there are some clouds and some part of the lightning is hidden behind the cloud. And you can see that I am following somewhat that brighter part that I did leave for the lightning, and where the background is the brightest, my lightning is going to be the thickest, and where the background is darker, my lines lightning are gonna be thinner and almost barely visible. So this is just quite relaxing process. I do like to do that, just adding, scribbling. It's like a scribbling, especially if you're gonna do it with a pen. I love doing that. It's just so relaxing and so nice to do, and that's that repetitive process. I don't know, it just gives me some calmness. I'm just looking where I want to add a little bit more of the lightning. And you can also see that my lines aren't straight. They are bigly broken. So just make sure you don't paint one straight line. It's not going to be believable. That's not how the lightning works. Just add a couple of wiggly lines. A little bit more of the pigment, as I said, in the part where the background is the lightest. I want my lightning to be the thickest, so I'm adding a little bit more of the pigment there. You can see how that part just really shines. So if it makes it easier for you, you can at the beginning maybe paint in the line where your lightning is going to be, and you know, that's how it will help you later on to know where to put that lightest part of the background. But you know, that line probably won't be visible when you add the pigment, so just keep that in mind. Maybe you want to sketch it on the other paper, and just to know where to place those lighter lines. And right now I'm just adding a little bit of that white paint in the for the waves. I'm gonna smudge it with water, and that's it. I'm done with the second one also. I hope you enjoyed this video also. I would love to hear your comments. If you did like it, please hit the like button, share it, and of course comment. And if you haven't still, please do subscribe to my channel. That would be awesome. There are, I don't know, maybe 300 400 tutorials right now for beginners, intermediate. I'm sure you will find something for yourself. Just check out my channel. And guys, thank you again so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye.